part of just connecting. Thank you so much for being here, David.
Oh
It's
my
great to see you.
Sparrow, thank you for having me.
It's
This
really,
is
it's my pleasure. Yeah, it's
well,
my
thanks.
pleasure. And um, this 30 minutes is going to fly by, especially with somebody like you. As you have such an interesting career, right? And of course, like, we're going to highlight maybe a little bit more of your involvement in the pre and perinatal world, but I also want to show, and kind of highlight the other really amazing things that you have done in your career and your other talents, and how you've really married those in such a beautiful way. So I'm hoping to kind of pull all that together to hear from you today.
Sounds great. The good news is I've been practicing, just like I listen to my podcast on 1.5 speed, I've been practicing how to talk on 1.5 speed. So even though we only have a half an hour, we are going to get through a lot of material right now.
Love it so much. Okay. Do you mind if I actually read your bio so that people can kind of orient to who you are and what you do?
Sure, but should I just give the 10-second version of it?
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
My name is David. I am 49 years old. I live in Vermont, but my private practice is in New York City. I've been a massage therapist for 21 years and a continuing education teacher for almost as long. My first career before massage was in publishing, so I also work as a freelance book editor, and I also write a bunch of articles, and then I was also one of the co-authors for the 3rd edition of the pre and perinatal massage therapy textbook that we use in our prenatal massage courses. How's that?
Beautiful. That was great. I love it so much. Beautiful. Yeah. And then do you want to just give us like a little intro into what led to that career change or emphasis, from
Yes.
the publishing world into massage therapy?
The answer is I still don't know. But it was 2002 when there were still flyers that people hung on lamp posts. And so I was at work. My boss, who's a wonderful lady, said, in 5 years, I'm going to retire. And if you want, you can take over this office and you can replace me and be a full-time editor. And at that moment, I realized that I could spend the rest of my life behind a desk. And I realized that I didn't want to do that. And then I happened to be going for a walk later on, and I happened to find a flyer for the Swedish Institute, an amazing, amazing massage school in New York City. And they were having like a demo, come see what we're like day. And so I went and I fell in love. And like a year later, I quit my job. I went back to school full time to get my massage degree. And then I've been massaging ever since.
I love it. That's awesome. Beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about your work in body, brain, breath, and where the name really came from?
Yeah. My private practice, so my work with clients, is called full breath massage, because from early on in my career, I realized that my like individual massage sessions were so much more effective when I was aware of my own breath, and when I helped to encourage my clients to be a little bit more aware of their breath. And so then when I started teaching, I realized that the same thing was also applicable in the classroom with licensed massage therapists, right, that I was working with. And it made me realize that, like, in order to be an effective teacher myself, and also for the students, in order to be effective learners, right, no matter how long or how short they have been massage therapists, we need to address all 3 of those elements, right? Our body, our brain, and our breath. And so my work, I hope, is a combination of those things. So I spend a lot of time focusing just literally on how you feel in your body as you're giving a massage, right? Because I am convinced, the longer I do this, that if you don't feel comfortable in your own body, the client is not going to feel as good as they could right, in their body.
Yeah.
So I focus a lot of work on your physical comfort, your emotional well-being as you're massaging, your body mechanics, right, the kind of the very basic stuff to the very complex stuff. And then obviously we do a lot of work with, you know, our brains, because we're learning, hopefully we're learning in the courses that we take. But then again, like I said before, I think the breath is like the thing that ties it all together, right? Because ultimately, I think we are learning as much about our nervous systems as we're learning about the musculoskeletal system, right? Both when we're giving a massage and when we're learning about massage. And the breath is the most concrete way that we can communicate with our nervous system, right? So if we're aware of how we can really slow down our breath, calm down our brains, right, everything gets more effective, right, in the classroom and also in the treatment room. Hence
100%.
body, brain, breath.
I love it. And then I'm assuming too, you know, like when you're in sessions with clients, there might be times where you might be instructing on breath, but I'm also wondering if you just being so connected with your own breath, they just start to mirror, right? They're hearing you, right?
Yeah.
And I've had that so many times in a session where I'll take a deep breath and then the client will also take a deep breath.
Absolutely. And it's like it kind of feels like this magic trick, right? Because it feels like a little bit too easy, and yet, right, it works. So
It
like,
works. We're connected.
yeah, we're connected. Exactly. And I do give like a few specific instructions, very basic, just like see if you can slow down your exhale a little bit, just like that at the beginning of sessions, right? And then sometimes if a client's really having a hard time or really having a lot of like upper back issues and neck issues, I find that attention to the breath really helps a lot. And so I'll give a few like visualizations or suggestions as we're working. But for the most part, you're absolutely right. It's like I'm setting the tone, right? By being really slow on my exhale, by being really calm in my own breath. And then almost invariably, the client, right, just unconsciously starts to adapt that easier pattern.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that. And you explain it so well. Can you tell us a little bit about how you tailor individual sessions for your clients and what you're
Oh,
versus like, you know, what
yeah.
you're reading in an intake versus
Yeah.
what you're reading in your hands and in your heart, you know, and really taking
Yeah.
someone in and how you meet someone where they're
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things that I believe most strongly about our work is that when it goes well, we are empowering our clients to be in charge of their own bodies, right? They are the experts. And so I am trying to grow their own expertise. And so the way that that starts is that I try to tailor my sessions to exactly what they need. And I try to get them to be honest with me about what they need. So for every session, I say, you know, very openly, like I can do a full body general, right, Swedish deep tissue massage if that's what you want right now, or we can do more focused work. So we can spend the whole time working on your hips and on your upper back if that's what you want, right?
Yeah.
And so right from the start, I push them, right, to think about their own body and start to feel more in charge of their own body. So it's not just like I'm the quote unquote expert and they're just the passive recipient, right? I want them to be in charge always. And then once they tell me what they want, I think the key to tailoring a session is to, again, follow exactly what they have asked, right? Because that's how we empower our clients. And then to let myself slow down each time I feel a place of congestion or each time, right, their breath kind of sharpens a little bit, I know that that's an area that needs extra attention, right? So then I just slow and sink in, right? And so I find that the best way to tailor is to follow their lead and then to really, right, sink into those places that feel like they need more attention. And I think that's how we do the most effective, right, ongoing work
I
with our
agree. So it sounds like it's the speed, it's the slowing down, right, of being in the tissue. It's staying long enough to listen to what the tissue's telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a really good distinction too, right? Because it's like it's that interesting thing where we are doing work, right, when we're working on the client or working with the client, but at the same time we're also listening, right, to what the client is telling us or what the client's tissue is telling us. And so it like we have to create that feedback loop, right, in order to do effective work. And so that's part of why in the workshops I teach, I'm so adamant about us being comfortable in our own bodies while we're working, right? Because when we're tense and we're really determined to, give really deep pressure, right? We can't listen, right? It's like static on a radio. When we're tense in our own muscles, right, we can't actually hear anything from the client's tissue. So we need to be really, right, calm and at ease in our own bodies, and then we can be receptive to what the client's body is telling us. And I think that's how we do the most effective work possible.
I love that. I haven't quite heard it explained that way, and it makes total sense to me that, if you're too rigid, how can you then be receptive and have this conversation with your client? Makes total sense. I love the way you explained that. It's beautiful. Since, this is the Maternity Massage Collective, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your entryway into this specialty. I'm assuming that Carol played a huge part in that. I mean, I know she did.
Indeed.
But I'm wondering, what was your entryway into this world of, magical work with this community?
It was entirely selfish, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because my wife was hoping to get pregnant. I was hoping to facilitate that process.
Yes.
And then I wanted to be able to work on her while she was pregnant. And so I was teaching at Swedish Institute at the time and saw that there was the 4-day pre and perinatal massage therapy course. And it actually wasn't taught by Carol. It was taught by Linda Hickey, who, right, I can't remember if you worked with her, Sparrow.
I've only met Linda in online meetings, but she's sort of like a legend, you know? I've heard so many amazing things about her.
She is absolutely wonderful. She has this Canadian drawl. I don't even know how to say it. And she walked into the classroom, and she's very tall, and she has this kind of magisterial presence. And she walked into the classroom and she said, "My name is Linda. Everybody, let's touch our bellies." And so she lifted up her shirt and started rubbing her belly, and everyone cracked up. And then it was that was it. I was hooked. And at the end of the 4 days, I thought it was 4 of the most amazing and kind of, awe-inspiring and thought-provoking days of my life. And I just said, I really love this. Would you mind if I was a teaching assistant the next time you teach? And she said, sure. And so then I started working with her, and then eventually with Carol. And hey, Sophie, that's very cool that you took that class. That was a long time ago, right?
What year was that? Do you remember, David?
2000. I'm pretty sure it was 2006.
Nice.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And so so this will be my 20th year doing prenatal work. And so I worked with Carol then, and was her teaching assistant, you know, or one of hers, right, along with you. And then Carol asked me to do like the research for the second edition of the book. And then I did that, and then I did more, you know, teacher training with her along with you, Sparrow, and here we are.
And here we are. And then I know that you are a dad, and so I'm assuming then you also got to put this work to use.
It was successful.
In your own life. Yes.
Yes. Yes, I put the skills to work while my wife was pregnant, and then in a sad turn of events, she was in labor for 72 hours. She's someone who likes to be in charge of things, so I think she had a really hard time like really understanding that like, holy crap, this thing is happening to me. And so so the labor was endless and obviously incredibly intense and painful. But also for most of it, she was like unbelievably hot. So it was New Year's Eve, and she was like, the windows were open in the birth center, and she was fully naked, and her mother and I were in our coats. And at one point I tried to like do some like sacral friction as she was having a contraction, and she said, "David, get the fuck off me." So so there was very little massaging during the labor, but the massaging during the pregnancy and then after the birth went well.
Did that even surprise her that came out of her mouth? Because I feel like it often
Yes, but it's like, it's that magical, right? It's like,
it is,
right, an altered state of consciousness, right? At one point, I think this was about 65 hours into it, I found a pack of gummy bears, and I said, "Love, these gummy bears are magic, and they're going to give you strength because you need all the strength you can get." And she ate them, and like 2 weeks later, she was like, "David, what are you talking? I actually believed that you somehow had magic gummy bears."
I know, it could be such an altered world.
Yeah,
it's
totally
so, and
amazing.
And you don't know what you're going to meet in the birth process, and so that's so. It's just such a beautiful illustration. I mean, I had a client like that who was just crazy about massage and wanted to be touched all the time. And then in her labor, we were both shocked. She was like, you need to stay over there. And I'm like, okay, I'm over here.
Yeah.
I never touched her once during the labor.
Yep.
And we were both like, what is this? Definitely not what we were expecting. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's like, it's one of those things that is such an amazing learning experience as a therapist, right?
Yes.
That is like this really important humility, right? That we can learn, that like, yes, our touch can do fantastic things. And of course, because we're massage therapists, we always think that touch is the answer.
Yes.
But that it's a really important, right? Both for our own practice and also to create that sense of agency in our clients, right? To just know, no matter what, right? They are in charge and we are following their lead.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right. Like you can't, I mean, in birth work, like you can't bring your ego into it. It really has to be a sense of service and, and of really honoring the mother as the director of, even though, sometimes she's figuring it out, but she has her ways of letting you know what she needs in each moment. I love that. Thank you for sharing such a beautiful and personal story. And, big props to your wife too, because that is a very, very long labor to get through.
It was no joke. It was no joke. But I mean, I gotta say, like, the way it has shifted her perspective, right, on her own life is pretty phenomenal, right? Like, she is now, she still doesn't like, I don't know, spiders, and she still doesn't like taking out the trash, but like, she's pretty confident that she can do like pretty much anything now, right?
You're right.
Which is,
You're right.
I
That's
mean,
the invitation and the gift that birth
yeah,
can offer.
yeah,
Yeah, it's sort of like this dismantling of who you were, and yeah, the
exactly.
rebuilding of, yeah. That's so cool that you got to witness that and to be with her in that, because I know that that cannot be easy either to witness. And I sort of think it's more uncomfortable the closer you are to the
Yeah,
person going through it, right?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I think being able, like, as a therapist, being able to separate yourself is one thing, and right, but then as, you know, the partner being able to do it as a whole, yeah, a whole other thing.
A
It
whole
was
other
it was
thing.
it was very, very challenging. But every time I had that thought, I thought, well, it's a hell of a lot more challenging for her right now.
But it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful that you could, traverse that together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just wanted to see, like, what else did you want to say about, yeah, going deeper into the world of prenatal massage and what it has taught you, and
Mm.
um, yeah, anything else that you want to say about that or your courses?
I mean, I think one of the things that I keep coming back to is being a man, being
Yeah.
someone who has never been pregnant and will never know internally, right? Like, no matter how many books I read, I will
Yes.
never know what this entire experience is, is like. I there's a part of me that, like, feels sad about that, right? Because I would love to have such a phenomenal, like, world altering, experience, right? Like, going to the urologist is not very exciting, right?
No.
But on the flip side, I think it's actually made me a better therapist, um, because I come with no personal experience and no assumptions, right, about what somebody is feeling like,
Yes.
right? And so obviously there are disadvantages to that, but I think actually there are real advantages to that, because
I
it means
agree.
that I
Yeah.
don't, I don't ever think that I know what a pregnant client is feeling, right?
Yes.
And so it means that I ask more questions. It means that I really listen. It means that I really allow them to be in charge, right? So there's, like, a certain benefit of kind of being the idiot in the room, right? And there again, talking about that humility, right? That I think is so important to being a good therapist. Like, that is the biggest way that it manifests for me, right? Is that I am welcoming you into my office, and then you are in charge, right? And I am just going to help facilitate, right, whatever it is that your body needs in this moment. But I'm not going to put, anything on you, right? And so I think it's like
100%. Yeah.
it's been a real advantage. And it's also, to be honest, it's also spilled over with other clients too, because now I realize too, I catch myself, well, like, I wouldn't make an assumption about that client being pregnant, right? But, like, why should I make an assumption that I know of what this guy who's had knee surgery, right, feels like? Or, right, like, nobody's aches are exactly the same, right?
No, and you're right. Like, even if two people have been pregnant, they can have vastly different
Exactly.
experiences. And you're right,
Exactly.
because if,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, man or woman, I did this work for years before I became a mother
Yep.
myself, because I didn't
Yep.
have that experiential. And you're right. I think that coming in sort of with a clean slate, with a
Yep.
humility, with a genuine level of curiosity,
Yep.
right? With an attunement to each person that walks through our doors. Those are huge advantages,
Yep.
and can make you a very effective therapist. And yeah, those of us that have given birth now, it's like we also have to be careful about putting um, leaving our bags at the door before we
Right.
walk into someone else's healing space if we really want
Yeah.
to be good facilitators. So yeah, very well said. Totally agree with you. Love that you spoke to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
Wonderful.
good one.
Yeah, and of course, I knew that the half an hour would fly by. But can you tell us a little bit about like what your year is looking like in terms of your teaching, and like if somebody wanted to learn from you, if somebody wanted to get a session from you, where can they find you? What are you doing in the world right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, if you are in or near New York City and would like a massage session with me, you can go to fullbreathmassage.com. And if you want to know more about my courses, you can go to bodybrainbreath.com. And I am very excited to be teaching our 4-day pre and perinatal massage therapy workshop coming up just in 2 months in March 16th at my very own studio in New York City. So it's a joy to be working there. And if I saw people who is watching, Margaret is already signed up, so I can't wait to meet you. And
Great.
I'm excited to meet the rest of you too.
Yeah, and do you want to talk about like, are there any other classes outside of the pre and perinatal world that you teach that anybody might be interested in? Because I know you also have an
Oh
emphasis
yeah,
on keeping things fresh if you've been a massage
yeah,
therapist for years and years, right? Can you speak a
yeah.
little bit on that?
Yeah. I have a bunch of courses that are online courses, right? So you can take them anytime. That's also at bodybrainbreath.com. And then I am teaching at the AMTA New York convention, which is coming up in April. I'm teaching at the Heal Well Homecoming convention, which is going to be in October down in near DC. And then I'm also teaching up in Vermont. I'm teaching a course that I just created that I really love called Give a Great Massage Again, how to refresh and reinvent your sessions. And so I'm going to be teaching that June 8th and 9th up in Vermont. So you can find details about all those things at bodybrainbreath.com.
Beautiful. And did you see Sophie's comment there about teaching any refreshers?
No, I'm old, so I didn't see it.
No, no. So she said, do you do the refresher prenatal class or more postpartum
Oh,
training? I don't know if
we,
you're
you
doing that
know,
at all this year.
no, we don't.
Hmm.
But Sophie, I'm glad you asked. I was actually just having a conversation with a spa owner this morning, which I was going to talk to Sparrow about later on. And she was also saying that like there's more of a need for like refresher kinds of classes. And Sparrow and I and the other members of the teaching team have been talking about the idea of creating more smaller courses and maybe even doing some online, right, prenatal stuff
Yeah.
with that kind of refresher idea in mind. So we don't have anything at the moment, but we are thinking about it and figuring it out.
And we appreciate the feedback of
Yes,
what you want from us.
yes,
So
exactly.
thank you.
Keep bothering us.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, David, is there anything else that you feel like you want to share about your work in the
I
world
mean,
or?
I'm just delighted to be a part of this community.
Yeah, thank you so much again for taking the time to be here. I'm thrilled that everybody got to virtually meet you here, right? And
Likewise.
um yeah, like so I think we started teacher training with Carol together, was it 2017 or 2018?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting like how much bonding you can do over over
Yeah.
Zoom over several years. So I just wanted to again like thank you for your work in the world. Thank you for taking the time to be here. It's really an honor and a pleasure to, be colleagues and to be moving this work forward together in the world. And yeah, I just
Thank
appreciate it
you.
so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that too. And for those of you who are watching, I'm sure that Sparrow is too humble to toot her own horn, but Sparrow's Nest, the place that she runs, the spa that she runs in California, I've never visited, but it seems pretty damn remarkable. And the amount of education that she does with her massage therapists who work with her, I think from what she tells me and what I read, online is like really a model for how a boss can elevate other massage therapists. So I just want to give you the credit that is due to you, Sparrow. I think you're doing incredible work out west.
Thank you so much. That's really kind of you to say. And yeah, I'm really proud of my team. I love them very much. Thank you. Awesome. Well, everybody have a wonderful weekend, and let us know, David, if you want to come back. We would love to have you
Absolutely.
anytime. So
That sounds
beautiful.
great.
Thank you again. Talk to
Bye,
you
you
soon.
guys.
Bye, everyone.